The most important part of a pressure washer isn't the logo on the front. It's a part most people never even look at, and one Italian company has been quietly building it for half the industry since 1958. Here's what nobody at the big box store will tell you. Two machines can sit side by side on the same shelf. One wears a famous name for $600. The other wears a name you've never heard of for $250. And underneath the plastic, they can share the exact same pump and the exact same engine. The badge is marketing. The pump and the motor are the machine. So today I'm going to show you 5 brands almost everyone ignores that quietly put commercial-grade guts into affordable machines. And I'm going to teach you how to read a spec sheet so you never overpay for a sticker again. Let's start with why this matters, because a pressure washer is one of the few tools where the price tag and the quality have almost nothing to do with each other. When you buy a car, the brand mostly builds its own engine. Pressure washers don't work that way. The company whose name is on the box usually didn't build the pump, didn't build the engine, and in a lot of cases didn't build the machine at all. They designed the shell, chose the parts, and printed the label. That sounds like a scandal. It isn't. It's just how this industry is structured, and once you understand it, it works massively in your favor. Because it means the difference between a machine that dies in one summer and a machine that runs for 20 years usually comes down to 2 components you can identify before you buy. The first is the pump, the second is the engine, if it's gas, or the motor, if it's electric. Get those 2 right, and the name on the front is almost irrelevant. Get them wrong, and it doesn't matter how famous the brand is. You've bought a disposable machine with a nice sticker. The problem is that the most valuable information, the actual pump model and the engine type, is usually buried in the fine print, while the marketing shouts about pressure numbers that are often exaggerated. So before we get to the 5 ignored brands, you need to understand the single component that separates a gold mine from a throwaway, and why one type of pump is quietly designed so you can never repair it. That component is the pump, and there are 3 kinds. The difference between them is the difference between a tool and a toy. At the bottom, you've got the wobble pump. It's cheap, it's sealed, and when it wears out, you throw the entire machine away because a replacement pump costs more than the washer did. These live in the cheapest electric units, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you know that's what you're buying. In the middle, you've got the axial cam pump. The pistons sit in a circle around an angled plate, it's compact, it bolts right onto the engine, and it's what you'll find on the vast majority of consumer gas machines. A decent axial pump will give you a few hundred hours of weekend use. Some are rebuildable. Many are treated as disposable. And at the top, you've got the triplex plunger pump. 3 ceramic-coated plungers, running slower, running cooler. And that last part is the whole secret. Heat is what kills a pump. A triplex runs its plungers at lower speed with far better cooling, so the seals don't cook themselves the way they do in a cheap, high-speed pump. That's why a triplex runs for thousands of hours and gets handed down, while the throwaway pump gives up in a couple of seasons. That's the pump on the commercial rigs that clean parking lots every single day. Here's the part the marketing hides. A triplex pump can outlast 3 or 4 axial machines. But on the shelf, the axial machine is often the one wearing the more famous name. Now, who actually makes these pumps? This is where that Italian company comes in. Anovi Reverberi, you'll see it written as AR, has been building pressure washer pumps in Modena, Italy since 1958, and they supply pumps to an enormous slice of the industry under dozens of different brand names. You'll also find pumps from CAT, a highly respected American maker, from General Pump, from Comet, and from a brand called AAA, which is the in-house pump line of one of the biggest machine builders in the country. Now, the point is not that one pump maker rules them all. That's an exaggeration you'll hear repeated online, and it isn't true. The point is that the same handful of respected pump makers show up inside wildly different price tags, and once you can spot their names, you stop paying for the badge. But here's where it gets really interesting, because one of those pump makers eventually got tired of hiding inside everyone else's machines. That company is Anovi Reverberi, and this is the first brand almost nobody thinks to look at, because for decades, AR was the invisible supplier. Their pumps inside everybody else's product. Then, in 2006, they launched their own line of pressure washers and started selling directly to consumers. In North America, you'll find them under the name AR Blue Clean. Think about what that means. You can buy an electric machine built by the company that makes the pumps for half the industry, cutting out the middleman brand that would normally just bolt an AR pump into a fancier shell and mark it up. For light and medium home use, that is one of the quietest bargains in the entire category. That's number one. Number two is Simpson, and Simpson is the brand that proves this whole point. Simpson is one of the most recognized names in gas pressure washers, and it's built by a company called FNA Group out of Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Here's the reveal. Many Simpson machines pair a genuine Honda engine with an industrial triplex pump, a rebuildable pump with a forged brass manifold and thermal relief built in, on a machine that often costs less than flashier consumer units running throwaway wobble pumps. But it gets better. FNA Group doesn't just build Simpson, they also build the DeWalt branded pressure washers. Same company, same factory, same parts bin, so when you're standing in the aisle comparing a Simpson to a DeWalt, wondering which brand you can trust more, that's the wrong question. They come off the same production line. What you should be comparing is the pump model and the engine printed on each spec sheet, because that is the only thing that actually changes between them. Number three is a name you only know if you shop at Northern Tool, North Star. It's a storehouse brand, which is exactly why people scroll right past it and exactly why it's a gold mine. Look at the actual spec sheets and you'll see it. Genuine Honda GX commercial engines, the cast iron sleeve workhorses, not the lighter residential line, bolted to real CAT and Comet triplex plunger pumps with forged brass manifolds and ceramic plungers. That is a professional grade specification sold under a hardware store label. The badge makes it look ordinary. The parts list makes it a machine you hand down to your kids. Number four is the one the pros know and the public doesn't: B Power Equipment. B has spent years supplying contractors and pressure washing businesses, the people who run these machines 40 hours a week and can't afford junk. Go through their lineup and its genuine Honda GX engines, mated to AR, CAT, Comet, and General Triplex pumps, everyone with a brass manifold, ceramic plungers, and a thermal relief valve on commercial steel frames. And because they don't spend a fortune on retail advertising, you're paying for brass and steel instead of a television ad. When a brand survives by selling to people who use the tool for a living, that tells you more than any glossy review ever could. And number five swings back to the homeowner, because not everyone needs a commercial rig, and pretending otherwise is how people get oversold. For everyday electric cleaning, patios, cars, siding, decks, Sunjoe has quietly become the value leader. No, it is not a rebuildable triplex commercial machine, and it doesn't pretend to be. What it is honestly priced, widely available, and matched to what most homeowners actually do, which is clean for an hour on a Saturday and put it away. Paying for far more machine than you'll ever use is just a different way of losing money. Sunjoe is the antidote to that, so that's your five. But before I give you the spec sheet cheat sheet that ties all of this together, there's one more brand I have to mention, because it breaks the pattern in the most surprising way of all. That brand is Krenzel, and it's German, and it's the one that flips the usual story on its head, because Krenzel isn't cheap, and yet it's still ignored. That's the surprise. Everyone hunting for a bargain overlooks it because the sticker price looks high. But Krenzel builds machines the way this whole industry used to, serviceable, over-engineered, with parts you can still get years down the road. And among the people who genuinely know pumps, it's treated as one of the finest built anywhere on Earth. And the lesson Krenzel teaches is the one that ties this entire video together. Cheap and expensive are both distractions. The only question that matters is what's inside and whether you can fix it. So here's the cheat sheet. The 4 things to check the next time you're standing in that aisle or scrolling that listing. First, find the pump type. If it says triplex or plunger pump, that's the long life rebuildable design. That's what you want if you're going to work it hard. If it says axial cam, that's fine for normal home use, just know it's a shorter life part. And if it doesn't name the pump at all, it's almost always a sealed throwaway, only worth it at a throwaway price. Second, on gas units, find the engine. A genuine Honda will say Honda right on the engine and name the series. The GX line is the commercial cast iron sleeve workhorse, and the GC line is the lighter residential version. Here's the tell that costs people the most money. Compare two machines from the same brand, and you'll sometimes see one listed with a Honda GX200 and a cheaper one listed with something like a 212 cubic centimeter engine and no maker named at all. That nameless engine is a clone, and the vague spec is the cost cut they're hoping you won't notice. Third, look for a brass pump head instead of aluminum, and look for a thermal relief valve, because those are the small tells of a machine built to survive real work. And fourth, buy the machine matched to your actual use, not the biggest number on the box, because the pressure rating is the single most exaggerated figure in this entire industry. Do those four things and watch what happens. That $600 famous name machine and the $250 ignored one snap into focus. Sometimes the famous one is genuinely better and worth every dollar. But very often you'll find the ignored brand has the triplex pump and the genuine Honda, while the famous one has the sealed wobble pump and the mystery engine, and you were about to pay double for the sticker. The badge on the front was never the machine. The pump and the engine were always the machine, and now you can read them both. Here's the bigger picture. This isn't really about pressure washers. It's about a pattern that runs through almost everything we buy now. The name on the front and the parts on the inside have quietly become two different things, and the price usually follows the name, not the parts. Pressure washers just happen to be a category where the truth is unusually easy to see once you know the two components to check. Learn to read those two things, and you stop being a shopper who buys logos and start being a buyer who buys machines. Your wallet will feel the difference for years. If this changed the way you'll look at that aisle, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I dig into a different overlooked product every week, and the next one will save you just as much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.